Hello everyone, my name is Wayne.
And I'm Rebecca.
And we are your Bourbon Journey.
Welcome to episode 17 of Bourbon Trail Tales and Tastes, where we're going to Bulleit Distillery, which ironically isn't really a distillery, but it's their welcome center and where they welcome guests. And this is our 22nd distillery to visit, believe it or not, and our 18th stamp on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. This is part of that same weekend we've been talking about the last couple weeks, around Halloween of 2022. Specifically, this was on October 30th of 2022. So it's interesting, if you've not been to the Bulleit facility where they welcome you, I think I would call it a welcome center, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It's more of a welcome center. It's beautiful. It's on beautiful property, and the inside is amazing. They have all these displays about the history of Bulleit, how it got started, who's been involved, and barrels showing there. I would say there's lots of opportunities for photos, which we got several pictures made in the lounge area while we were waiting for our tour. And they have a pretty good sized gift shop. So it's kind of interesting. It's a little reminiscent, some of the things in the gift shop, of Stitzel Weller, because they have a lot of golf items. Mm-hmm. And of course they are owned by Diageo, which is same as Stitzel Weller. So it's makes sense there's a relationship there. But anyway, when we finally got in to do our experience, because there's not a distillery tour, right? But it's an experience. What do you remember most about the experience, Wayne?
Well, first thing, it was raining.
Oh, yeah, the whole day it was raining.
The whole day it was raining.
And you're going to hear that in the next two videos as well.
it was wet. And the experience that we ended up doing was one of these, basically sort of, what do you call it?
It's a sensory.
It's a sensory thing. So we get inside this room. They pour several different versions of Bulleit, and they give us little sensory things to smell to determine, oh, that's ginger. Oh, that's this, or that's that. And it was really cool. And the thing I remember is I was kind of jerking on the guy's chain leading it, because I kept sitting there in a low voice making the comment, "You got any weed?" And he smirked a couple times, and I didn't say out loud. We were in the front, so I
front row. He was right next to us.
I could get away with it. But the sensory part, I think, is what really started to make me understand that there was a lot more in bourbon. Now, I'd begun to pick things out, but I come into this thing and I thought, there's a bunch of hippies running this stupid thing, dumb, whatever. And it kind of opened up my mind to that there's a little bit more to bourbon. Well,
it's funny you said it, because for me, it was like, how can I recreate this? Because that's who I am. I'm like, I want to recreate this. I'm an educator by trade, and I'm like, I want to do a class on this. I want to be able to read it. But I have looked for these little brass containers that had different scents in them, and I've looked for those everywhere, and I haven't found them yet. So if anyone knows where to get them, comment, let me know, because I would love to recreate this whole scene. Right? I was probably more giddy over it than you were, but they darkened the room. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
The lights came down and they started playing music. It was slowly building in the background. And then you'd hear this like bell going, they'd ring like a little bell or something like that. And then they'd say, pick up your orb. I think they called it an orb, didn't they?
Yeah.
And shake it and smell it. And it was like amazing. These aromas were just coming through really strongly. And then they would have you taste what was in front of you. And how are you, so you're hearing and your eyes are in low light. So you're experiencing more of your senses for the nose and the mouth and the ears, right? So I was really into it. And he's like, got any weed?
Well,
and by the way, we're not into that at all. So
no,
just to say, when he says that, he's being silly.
I am, because if you are, I'm sorry, I can't stand it. I can't stand the smell. But anyway, and they played some soft music in the background, some, sort of classical type, modernized sort of Yanni type stuff. And my mind's sitting there thinking, geez, I wish somebody would play Back in Black by AC/DC, or We're Not Going to Take It by Twisted Sister. But I get it. We need to get in this Zen mood.
I I enjoyed it. So, you know, if you're Wayne, you might not want to go. But I'm just saying, if you're him, if you're like my husband, you may not want to go. But if you're like me, I would go back. And we've talked about going back again, and we've talked about taking friends, because I think that Happen Judy would get a kick out of it.
I agree that Happen Judy, I think, would really like it.
And I think I would appreciate it even more today that we've now gone further in our bourbon journey, and we are really into more about the senses and how you smell, taste, and enjoy bourbon. I think today it would mean more to us.
I did like it, and I would like to go back, because my mind is different than it was, although I'm still a rocker. My mind is different with it because I understand what they were doing. When you don't get what they're doing and you're trying to comprehend it, it's nutty. It's the only way to put it.
I love the whole thing. I thought it was great. And for 3 years, I've been looking for those little brass things to put stuff in. So I'm just saying, I want to recreate this experience. But anyway, so we'll move on to the taste part. And we did not buy a bottle that day. Shocker, shock alert. We did not buy a bottle that day. That's shocking in itself. So we're about to do the taste part, but this is a little different than other videos because we did not buy this bottle that day. So shockingly enough, Wayne and Rebecca did not buy a bottle because we hadn't had a chance to taste this yet, because it hadn't been that long ago that we had been to Stitzel-Weller, which is their sister company. It's all owned by Diageo. And we purchased a single barrel. Now you can see now we've had a little bit of this single barrel since then. Just saying. But that day we made a decision. We could have bought a 10-year, I think was one of the things that was available, which is a lot more expensive. They had some rye. We weren't into rye yet.
No.
And they had these single barrels. So we already had the single barrel, so we made a decision to pass on that. So luckily, we still have a wee bit of this left from that day we bought it at Stitzel-Weller, so we're going to be tasting that today.
And I am looking forward to this because for me, now liking bourbon, I have an appreciation for Bulleit because they're really the ones that kind of brought it back.
Yeah. You want to tell them a little bit why that is what we've heard?
Well, back in the late 80s, early 90s, from our understanding, you had a lot of bartenders, okay, you've had the bourbon kind of reduced and places selling off and going out of business. Bless their heart, these guys stepped up.
Especially the basic Bulleit, whether it's the bourbon or the rye, because even the bourbon is a high rye mash bill. So it really holds up well in cocktails. The bartenders loved it.
Yes. And with that, they're the ones that basically kind of started turning the ship a little bit back toward bourbon whiskey kind of coming back, because it's all of a sudden, hey, you may not have such and such, but you know what? You can use it in a Manhattan, old fashioned, and the other drinks that are involved. So myself, I do like Bulleit.
Well, and I'll also say that their website has a phenomenal cocktail page. You can just scroll and scroll and scroll. They have so many cocktail recipes, it's not even funny. So they still, they want to honor what got them really started. So let me tell you a little bit about this bottle. I had to kind of dig around and think what this was because it's from 2022. So let's share a little bit about it. This is a Bulleit Bourbon Single Barrel. It is a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. The company is Diageo. Now, the distillery is kind of interesting here. So I had to do a little math and a little research. So more than likely, since they tell us that although it's non-age stated, it has to be at least 4 years old. But typically their single barrels are 8 to 12 years old. That puts this distilled from 2022 at about 2010 to 2014. At that time, they were contract distilling at Four Roses. Now I will say that they have their own bourbon distillery in Shelbyville since 2017. Their mash bill, as we mentioned, is high rye. So it's 68% corn, 28% rye, and 4% malted barley. And the proof on this is 104. As I noted, we did get this at the Stitzel-Weller gift shop for $75 on September 4th, 2022. And I believe that was actually well over the normal price, but we've talked about the Stitzel-Weller gift shop being a little pricey, so it's not too shocking. But I'm excited to try it again. It's been a little while since we've had any, but we hit it pretty hard when we did. I am, and it's also a thrill now that they are going ahead and doing their stuff on their own. They have like a single malt. And their single malt's pretty decent too. Yes. So let's go ahead and dig into what brought bourbon back. It's kind of a light color. It's maybe a golden amber, so to speak. I wouldn't call it like a honey, but it's got a little amber note, but mostly golden notes, like a medium golden. A little bit of legs, not a lot of legs. That might happen as we drink. It's clinging to the glass somewhat, but not, not forming a lot of legs.
As I'm staring into the light, like poltergeist.
Oh. Pearls, let's take a see how the nose is. You can definitely smell that it's high rye. It's 28% rye. And with that rye, I'm getting some citrus notes, like some orange zest, perhaps.
There may be, I believe there's some baking spices, but there's ryegrass on it for sure.
Yeah, the rye is definitely coming through. I'm not getting a lot of sweet notes on the nose. Are you?
Well, what I like with the rye is it's not obnoxious. It's really
it's floral.
It is, but it's blending in well. It's playing well with everything else in there.
But I'm getting more rye notes than I am bourbon notes at this point. But perhaps when we taste it, it'd be different. So
let's give it a try.
Here's to Bulleit Single Barrel.
Cheers.
More bourbon notes for sure on the palate.
Citrus.
The citrus is still coming through. Orange for me. How about you?
I would agree with orange. It's not lemon and it's not lime and it's not avocado.
It's not a citrus, honey. But it's got some caramel notes now forming, which I think are pretty good. Maybe a hint of vanilla. I haven't gotten vanilla in a while. This is a little bit vanilla, and I do have legs in my glass now. For anyone that's looking for the legs, I'm just saying I've got some now. I'm liking this. It's 104 proof. I think it drinks a little warmer than 104.
It probably drinks like it's about 114, 115.
And that's probably the high rye content, is my guess.
For myself, the nose and the palate match. It's orange. There's rye, and there is a little bit of, I don't know if it's a caramel or a baking spice that's in there that's really kind of rounding the whole thing out.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of like a vanilla cream because it's got a pretty nice mouthfeel to it. So it's like a creamy vanilla pudding almost, or a vanilla custard, almost more than the caramel, maybe with a little caramel drizzle on it perhaps, but it's more vanilla for me. And then baking spice wise, it's leaning towards a little bit of nutmeg, which I think plays well with the orange. It's pretty good. I like it. I'll try it again. Yeah, it's got some really nice legs that have formed, which I love a good mouthfeel. It helps you pick up a lot more flavors when it's got that viscosity going on. The finish is really nice for 104 proof. I think the single barrel works quite nicely. I'm not getting much in the way of barrel notes. Maybe a little black pepper on the finish, which I haven't gotten on anything we've been doing recently.
I'm getting a little citrus in the back. I think that orange is, I really believe the orange is played all the way through.
Yeah, it has played. Yeah, you can still tell the orange. I mean, it's really nice. I can see why this is phenomenal in a cocktail, because bringing those citrus notes with the rye notes, a little bit of spice, and then you get the sweetness, it would play really well in a cocktail. Even as a single barrel, I know the basic Bulleit is what's used most often in a cocktail, but me, I prefer like something with 100 proof or more in a cocktail, and this would be great.
The legs have formed.
It's nice. This is a very nice, comfortable sipper. I can see why we hit this bottle pretty hard, and I kind of put it to the back of the shelf. It sits in our kitchen area. We have another shelving unit there, which kind of our daily drinker. So it does sit in there. If it come out to the front after I'm done with this, it might get killed pretty soon.
Myself, it's like, for me, it would still probably be here and there that I would drink it. At this point in my bourbon journey, when I see a bottle of Bulleit, I do become a little bit emotional, because as somebody who's started to like bourbon, to go back and realize that these guys, they took a gamble when the industry was falling apart and decided to do something. And I have a really soft spot for these guys. You know, even though I was silly about the tasting experience, I love what they've done. I love what they've done as a company.
Yeah, I think it's a great. And overall, I would say I would highly recommend visiting that visitor center because they do have great bottles. We didn't have a lot of time that day. We had another tour scheduled very shortly after this one, and you'll see that next week at Jeff the Creed. But so we couldn't linger, let's say, and lounge. And I highly recommend that you make this a stop on your bourbon journey because I think you will enjoy it. And I would recommend, I can't remember now what all the experiences they have include. I think they do take, you might be able to take a bus ride from there to go to the distillery. That may be something they're doing now. I can't recall exactly. I'll check that out. But the sensory experience is something that I haven't gotten anywhere else. So I would highly recommend it.
Agree. And
it's different.
It's different. And like I said, I would do it again because I think now I'd be in a different mindset. And I can't say anything more other than I really like these guys. I tip my hat to all of you that are at Bulleit, the master distiller, everyone, because you guys stepped up when a lot of people didn't. And no knock on those that didn't, but I have a lot of respect. We've talked about this before, so this is not unusual for her to hear me blab about this.
So I just say, we'll be back next week talking about Jeff the Creed. So I hope you're enjoying the Bourbon Trail Tales and Tastes. It's a way to get experience and find out about these various stops on the Bourbon Trail that we hope you will visit because we're about, it's not just about acquiring the bottles. Yes, we've acquired a lot of bottles, but I was mentioning to someone on Facebook the other day that, if you go and immerse yourself in the experiences and the distilleries and what they have to offer, their history, their culture, what they're about, the bottles will come. Mm-hmm. And obviously, if you look around, the bottles will come for us. So we focused on that first, and then the bottles were just something that happened along the way. It wasn't our intention to start with.
No.
So we didn't know we were going to have a room just for this, but
I didn't.
You need to get out there. You need to experience it. It's not just about drinking bourbon. It's about experiencing what it's all about and what these folks are all about.
Yes,
really.
and meeting people that are of a like mind because that can be difficult at times. It's not a lot of people that are into this.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you for your time. Make sure to go ahead and visit Bulleit. Bulleit, thank you very much because honestly, without you guys, I'm probably not sitting here today talking about this. And I appreciate that. So respect to you. Cheers to all of you out there. If you like what we do, please hit the subscribe button and always remember to drink responsibly. Cheers.
Cheers.